The Trail of Shards, Chapter 10, The Dungeon. I was thrown to the floor of one of the hay-covered rooms. I heard the wooden door slam close behind me, and I didn't move. I couldn't move. I just stayed there on my knees, screaming and kicking. Eventually, it got hard to breathe, and I dropped to my forearms. These people had just murdered the very little family I had left. My father was shot in a hunting accident years ago, and my mother in a bonfire, and my aunt shot 9 times in the chest. She had obviously been dead after the second shot had landed. Lisa, no matter how much she may have deserved it, had been defenestrated from a 6th-floor window. I didn't know what had happened when I had reached for the mirror, and she fell through it. But I was too much of a sobbing mess to deal with that now. I am now a very emotionally hard-headed and armored person, but back then I was as soft as they came. I began to think past my biological family. Jackson. Had he survived? The man said that he would spare all women and children that weren't too defiant, as my family had been. This meant that Sir Dwent was most likely a dead man. I wondered what Jackson had done. He never surrendered to Lisa, but these men were armed with more than just fruitcake. Luckily, he looked much younger than he was, so unless he voiced his age, he would have been short enough to have passed as a 10-year-old. He wouldn't have been killed for his age. But given his sarcastic attitude, he was almost positively a dead man. I cried even harder. "Get off of me, you pig! That's all you are, a jerky hog with a rat face." Extreme amounts of profanity followed. Jackson. I scrambled to my feet and ran to look through the iron bars of the door. "You little brat!" The gruff man who held Jack had pinned him against the wall. "You want a broken rib?" he threatened. Jack's eyes went wide, and he gasped. "Nope, nope, nope, nope!" he cried, desperately trying to wiggle free. A loud scream echoed in my ears. The man hadn't bashed his rib cage, but instead had propped Jack's shin up against the wall at a 90-degree angle and broken it in one swift kick. Jack lay screaming on the floor for a few seconds before the man literally picked him up and threw him into the next cell. "Jackson!" I screeched, my voice cracking. "Oh my God, please don't be dead!" I cried, going back to crying on the floor. "Please." A grunt came from his cell. "That you? You guys still alive?" His voice was soft and shocked, but I let out a breath of relief. But I didn't stop crying. I thought for sure Lisa would have gotten you killed. "She did," I managed. Genevieve shot, Lisa defenestrated. I was leaning against the wall between us. "My mother was tied to a flaming chair and my father stoned," he replied. You could hear tears welling in his voice. When I got back from hunting, I saw their torch in the distance, my father and I. We didn't think much of it, just thought it was another hunting party. I gasped, remembering the torch that I had seen. "Oh my God," I said, realizing that if I hadn't just dismissed it, my family might have survived. "I know. What kind of hunting party brings torches? It would be like saying, 'Hello, Mr. Deer. Don't mind us, bright and shining, with crossbows trying to kill you. Not hidden at all.'" He beat himself up. "What? No. I saw the same light from the willow," I assured him. "Oh. I was just watching the stars, and the branches started glowing, and then all of the leaves fell off and turned to fireflies, and there was this pond, and Lisa fell through a mirror and never came out the other side, and now I'm stuck in a dungeon, and I don't know about you, but I've had a really confusing day, and I saw the torch, and I just thought that I was overly tired, so I went upstairs and went to sleep, okay?" I demanded. I was pacing along the wall, and I couldn't see his face, but I didn't need to. What on earth? And now everyone's dead, and I have no clue what the HE double torch is to do, and I know from experience that you really suck at giving advice. And now what? Do we just sit here and starve to death? I really doubt that they're going to feed us and let us live in peace. I was screaming and lying in a curled-up ball crying. I didn't know what else to do. Jackson stayed quiet for a long while. I do not suck at giving advice, he claimed. That threw me overboard. Is that all you heard from the last few minutes I spent explaining? I screeched. No, he rushed in. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry, really. I could tell he meant it. Jackson didn't like not being good at things, and giving advice was truly his weakest point. That was because he never needed any advice for himself. He always thought with his heart and stuck to his own opinion. He never cared what anyone else wanted him to do. He stayed that way up until the moment he died, which unfortunately was not long after that conversation. And that's the end of chapter 10. So thanks for listening. If you liked it, leave a like, obviously. Possibly subscribe. I don't really know how to monitor that, but it'd be nice if you did. And tune in for chapter 11, and have a good day.